for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
I need your help to get to the year 1985.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Welcome, Fade to Black, bespoke radio for the masses. Yeah. Today's Tuesday, July 17th, 2018. 198 days into the new year, just 167 days left. We are live from a bunker somewhere in beautiful downtown Burbank, California. And I would like to welcome everybody listening all around the world, all across the United States. Hither and thither, to and fro, back and forth, up and down, east and west, north and south, far and near. This is Fade to Black for KJCR, the Game Changer Network, and KGRA, the planet. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. What is cracking, everybody? How you doing? How you doing? Man, I'm in a great mood. I'm always in a great mood. Very rarely in a bad mood. You know, it's kind of funny because Rita will go, you know, enough of this good mood stuff. But I'm in a good mood all day, every day. No negativity in my world. I'm always in a good mood. Tonight, helping me with that good mood, putting me right there. Laurie McDonald is here. That's right. Laurie McDonald is back, and we're going to talk UFOs in Asia. And she just got back, by the way, from Geneva, Switzerland. We're talking UFOs in Asia tonight. She just got back, and she was at a conference, hosting a conference out there in Geneva, sponsored by China. Yeah. Right? So we're going to talk about that. And she has got a treasure trove of gifted information about the last 97 years of UFOs in China. And so we're going to go through that material tonight. And she has informed me that nobody has had access to this information. So this is the first time in the West. And we are doing that tonight because we're going to take a journey to the East tonight on Fade to Black with Laurie McDonald. Tomorrow night, you're not going to want to miss tomorrow night. You don't want to miss any show here on Fade to Black. I mean, last night, Steve Neal here. Tonight, Laurie McDonald. Tomorrow night, Justin Benson and Aaron Moorhead are here. The creators, directors, writers, editors, cinematographers, stars of the hit film The Endless are going to join us for the first time tomorrow night. And I'm very excited about this. Just like last night, one of, with Steve Neal, one of the things, because I live in Hollywood, and this is our community here. The film and television world is right here. The known universe, laser focused, right here on Burbank and Studio City. This is where it all goes down. Universal Studios, and of course we have Paramount and Sony and and everything else that goes on here. Fox, these are big. CBS, Television City. These are huge, huge, huge compounds of acreage of production that goes on here. Well, it's our world. And before I ever got here, I was a fan of film and television and radio, broadcast, all of it. I love it. That's why I do what I do. And when I see a film that I enjoy, it affects me. And of course, I share it with you when that happens. And The Endless was one of those films that grabbed me from the beginning, took me right to the end. I couldn't wait. I've seen it now a couple of times. It was just released. And chasing down these two, and I'm talking about Aaron and Justin, and getting them on the show is an unbelievable experience for myself, because I get to explore what not only makes them go, because that's important, but I need to know how that film got made, how it was written and where the ideas come from. And that is why that show tomorrow night is going to be so much fun. You're not going to want to miss it. Justin Benson and Aaron Moorhead are here. And then Thursday night's another Fader night, open lines all night long. I don't know if John Rappaport's going to be here. I'm going to reach out to him tomorrow to see if he's back from his research. I think that he is. Okay. What is it with these Taco Tuesday picks? You guys know that you're setting me up. I've got 3 hours of broadcast that I've got to do tonight. And you guys post all of these Taco Tuesday picks, and I've watched them all day. Trust me, I get that. But I can't stop thinking about tacos now. Oh, man. Well, there you go, Rita. There it is. It's taco truck night on the way home. Okay. All right, on Stellar, some great stuff being posted over there. I was reading through it today. You've got to get over to On Stellar and get registered and check it out. ONSTELLAR.com, onstellar.com. And when you get registered, just send me a friend request. I would give you some advice right now that you need to follow. Use my referral code, Jimmy, because that can't be reversed. You're going to get bonus tokens for just using my name. I don't get it. You get the bonus. You get 15 bonus tokens if you just use my referral code. So I encourage you to do that, because if you register and you're only going to get 10 tokens, you use my promo code, you get 15 for a total of 25 in your wallet. And when that blockchain kicks off here shortly, you will regret not using my promo code. So just use it and get it done. And so when you do, after you get your profile picture up, send me your friend request. Don't do it before. If you do it before and I get the On Stellar Alien friend request, I just let it sit there. And there's your warning. OnStellar.com. Promo code, referral code, Jimmy. All right, and you can follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. I'm still hanging out over on Facebook. Facebook, man, woof. So I did the article about In-Q-Tel, the CIA, Facebook, and you. And you can go read the article yourself over at On Stellar, and you can see how many views and the amount of comments that are there, the amount of email that I've gotten, and other research that people have done. It's a crazy, crazy world out there right now. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in just a bit. And you can still get over to YouTube, too, as well, and subscribe to our official Fade to Black channel. That's our archive. I think we go back to show number 1. Everything is right there on YouTube. 800 and, oh, my goodness. I noticed, I think somewhere, I don't know where I saw this. Well, it must have been somewhere inside of YouTube. We have, today is show number 889. And as we're closing in on 900, 889, but I saw on YouTube, I think we have like 925 videos posted, so I don't know where the extra ones came from. Maybe back in the day we split some shows in 2, I think. I don't know, so long ago. I can't remember, but we have a lot of videos. posted over at YouTube, and you can go subscribe right now. Okay, follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Hashtag F2B on Twitter is our sandbox, and you can come and look at all the lovely gifts that everybody is posting over there. Some of them are pretty creepy, like this Beetlejuice. I love it, and more taco pictures. Thank you, everybody, for the influence. Are you guys getting like a kickback, from the taco truck up the street? Is 1 and 2 are not there. Is that right? Oh, is that right? Now, I did not know that. I think the reason... I got to think about this. I think the reason 1 and 2 are not there is we shot video with those, and that was with Steve Murillo and Wolf McCarran. And I didn't even think about that. Wow. I didn't even think about that. I wonder 1 and 2 are. I don't know. Are they still around? Wow. Wouldn't that be weird? Episodes 1 and 2 lost forever to the ether. I did not know that. Thank you, Dexter. And that's why you need to hang out there on Twitter. All right. I've got breaking news. A team of scientists has made a ginormous discovery when they recently uncovered, listen to what I'm about to say, uncovered a quadrillion tons of diamonds buried more than 100 miles below the Earth's surface. Now, maybe you didn't hear what I just said. So, quadrillion tons, right? That's a quadrillion 2,000-pound diamonds. A quadrillion tons. How much is that? It's a lot. Now, this is the deal. They have made the discovery, but we can't get to them. Not yet. They're 100 miles deep. But you can rest assured that De Beers, Russia, and the rest of the system that controls the diamond industry want them to stay where they are. Because bringing those to the surface would make your wife's diamond ring worthless. Well, the love is still there. The intention, the love, the bond of the ring. But that necklace, the ring, the earrings, and everything else on this planet are worthless. You need to think about that. And there are some out there going, okay, all right, we got to figure out how to get to them. Well, if you do, and you bring them to the surface, the industry's gone. De Beers has been controlling that forever, and now Russia's part of it, and others too as well. But think about that. A quadrillion tons of diamonds. Oh, man, what with the taco pics? Man, that's a good gift right there, though. That is just about perfect, and that's from UFO tweets. That's a perfect taco gift. Is that what is that? Is that a chipmunk eating a taco? You guys have lost your minds officially. Oh, looking at the bears. Okay, that's it. Okay, I'm losing my focus. Let me get back to where I was. And let me say this before I go any further. Any questions or comments, hashtag F2B, okay? It's right there, hashtag F2B and hashtag F2BQ. That's where everybody hangs out. And special thanks from everybody over at Rivermoon Coffee, makers of the Fade to Black blend. Yes, they've got a promotion for all of you Fadernauts out there. 20% discount on all of their offerings. It is called Take a Break. Take a coffee break. RivermoonCoffee.com. Promo code Coffee Break. That's all you got to do. 20%. 20% off of everything. It is truly the best coffee. Somebody texted me in OnStellar earlier today about Rivermoon Coffee. In fact, I got two messages at OnStellar about that, just thanking me for turning them on to River Moon Coffee, that it was really the best of that. I said, exactly. There you go. All right. Where am I at? Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast. I was just talking about this, right? Today is show number 889. I don't know how we got here, but we did. And we have custom apps, Apple, Android, all platforms. It's just $2 a month. Just go over to jimmychurchradio.com and click on that podcast banner. It's right there. And also, you can become an official Fade or Not in our membership section. You can do both. All you're doing is supporting the show. $2 a month, all right? And then jump over to the membership section. Do that too. Why not? Right? And if you become a game changer, you can not only get those downloadable archives, but you get the Fade to Black gear, autographed hat, T-shirts. You get the bunker cam. You get a private email to me, and it's all right there in our membership section on jimmychurchradio.com. Okay? All right, let's get the show cracking. Happy birthday to today. Donald Sutherland is 83. And before you think he made the list because of Invasion of the Body Snatchers, you would be wrong. Or maybe 6 Degrees of Separation. Pretty good. Father of Kiefer. That's certainly worthy of the list, right? Right? Nah, for me, it's Animal House and the other 188 movies that he's appeared in over the years. Happy birthday, Donald Sutherland. OTD, on this day in history, 1975. I remember it like it was yesterday, 40 years ago. Unbelievable. 43. The U.S. spacecraft Apollo 18 did not go to Mars. Nope. Some people think it did. It didn't go to Mars. Didn't even go to the moon. Nope. It went up and connected with the Soviet spacecraft Soyuz 19, and they rendezvoused in space. They docked. The hatches opened. They shook hands. There you go. And it happened on this day in 1975. I watched it live on television. It seemed like it took forever for that hatch to open. The cameras were on it, and I'm serious. I must have stood there for an hour just looking at the, that's a good gift right there, Eric, Donald Sutherland. And then finally it opened, and there were the Ruskies right there. It's pretty cool. Have you guys seen Valerian? I think that they recreated that in the intro for Valerian. It's pretty cool how they did it. Brought back memories. Fate or fact? All right, this has been vetted. You do the math. Fate or fact? If you made $1 every second of every day, $1 of every second, it would take you more than 4,500 years to have more money than Jeff Bezos. Is this thing on? Is this thing working? Did you hear what I just said? 4,500 years. Tonight, Laurie McDonald is here. We're going to talk UFOs. She just got back from Geneva, and we're going to do a journey to the east. And we're going to talk about the last 97 years of UFO history that hasn't been revealed here in the United States or the West, in China and the rest of Asia. Okay, so get ready for that. Tomorrow night, Justin Benson and Aaron Moorhead are here, creators of the hit film The Endless. Thursday night is another Fader night. Now, I love it when I get a chance to just talk. Drink coffee and talk. Which I'm going to do right now. Here's the coffee part. Because I like to talk about parallel worlds. I like to talk about alternate reality and the multiverse. And I do it a lot. I get that. I like to talk about dimensions, of which we know that there are at least 3. The number is 3, possibly 4. And with string theory, well, then we get to at least 11. But let's back off of that for a second. Let's go back to 4. Because I'm pretty confident in there being 4 dimensions, until recently, by the way. When it hit me, I'm not going to tell you how. That would be telling. But it hit me. there is a fifth. Now, I'm not talking about the band from 1969. Before you go there, I'm not talking about the fifth dimension. No, I'm not doing that. I really believe that there is a fifth dimension that snuck up on us. A serious, bona fide, fifth dimension. Provable. Another world. Another reality. A parallel alternate to us. To everything that is. It's real. It is the internet. Think about it. The ability to jump into anything with just a click. To communicate, to watch, to facilitate, to coordinate, to visit. A place where you can obviously completely check out. Where you can spend days, even weeks or years, and not return to this our so-called reality. You can go down below into the deep, dark recesses of blackness, never to be seen, invisible, never followed, tracked. Or you can come up and be visible in the light. Whatever you want to do, you can do it in this fifth dimension. Think about that. And like anything else that is possible in visiting another parallel world, you face the danger of altering your DNA. You just won't come back the same. And you don't. The longer you stay, the more infected you become. The very fabric of what makes us, well, has started to become undone. We are infected. The 20 short years, the masses have lost control of everything, of decency, lost control of their thoughts, their mouths, their fingers, their morality. It's all gone. Everything today is anger and divide. This is not a localized United States thing. This is global. And those in control know this. Everything that made us us has unraveled in 20 short years. The scarier part to that is that the majority of this planet doesn't even know it. They don't. And when you discuss it with them, why are you acting strange, man? Why are you tripping, dude? What's going on? Why the anger? What, man? You know, what? It's, you can't do anything about it. Our DNA has changed. When we talk about evolution and where are the transitional things that have made everything what they are today, and I'm talking about butterflies, bees, cows, humans, everything, we will look back from the future to now and say that is when humans changed. DNA was altered. The fact that this world is out there and we didn't know it, and we didn't even realize that we were entering into another dimension, another parallel world. is proof of it. We have been altered. If you look back 20 short years to 1998, this was a different planet and we were different people. Things definitely were kinder and gentler. Today, it's not that kind of party. It's all about arguing for the sake of arguing. You don't even care about the right side of what you are trying to be on, the correct side. You just want to argue. It's crazy. And it's global. I would like to say that Facebook accidentally did this, that the CIA, it was an accident, that they didn't know, that the corporations and the advertisers and the big money and the big pharma and everything else that drives world economies didn't know that this was going to happen. There's another side of me that says we were told over and over and over again over the years that we would see this day. And we've done it. We've crossed over. We have changed. We have altered ourselves. And I don't know how to fix it. I don't. The polluted world of what Facebook has turned into, and it's easy to do. Our community, myself, us that are grounded, you go back, you stay away from Facebook for a while, like I have. Stay away from it. Just don't do it. And go back and poke around and see what people are talking about and how they are doing it. It's insane. And it's not just a few. It's 3 billion people all losing their minds. It's crazy. It's a parallel world. And they've gone into it and they can't come back. They've been changed. And I don't know. That dopamine Facebook zone field thing and the withdrawals that you would get off of that, nobody wants to face it. They just don't. And the big fear that I have is that Facebook and others, doctors and psychiatrists and psychologists and just evil minds and the CIA sat around and actually plotted this thing out. The control. It's not about being happy. It's not. It's about doing exactly what they're doing. And there you go. Those in control know this. It's bizarre. It's bizarro world. It is the proof of a fifth dimension. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. This is Fade to Black. Tonight, Laurie McDonald is here, and we are going to take a journey to the east. We are going to discuss UFOs in Asia, in China specifically, too, as well. She just got back from Geneva and what she learned over there and this information that she has been giving. We're going to go through all of that tonight. Most of it has never been heard in the West. So get ready for that. I'm your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Network and KGRA, The Planet. This is Fade to Black. I'll be right back.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio.
When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of fade to black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Yes, Rivermoon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy.
What can I say about the most popular tea on the internet? And what do customers say about Life Change Tea at getthetea.com? A lot. But by federal law, we at getthetea.com cannot make claims to how this product can enhance your health. We cannot even post our testimonies without being in compliance. So how do we get past the hump? Try our products at getthetea.com and see for yourself. You can send us a testimony, but we just can't post it. Bummer. Our products are GMO-free and organic. We pride ourselves in being the best we can be, and we urge you to take charge of your health. We're 11 years strong, and many of our customers have shared their successes with friends and family. Protect your colon. Log on to getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. Getthetea.com. Getthetea.com.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, The Planet.
Win big with KGRA this summer. Tickets and hotel accommodations to the biggest conferences, autographed books and DVDs, chances to win all-inclusive conference cruises, and private dinners with your favorite KGRA hosts. Click the contest tab at kgraradio.com for your chance to win big this summer. Your contact for the best alternative talk radio on the planet. kgraradio.com.
Hi, this is Rob Reiner from Anvil, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? I'm Chris. What up? This is Kyle Massey, and you're listening to Jimmy Church Radio.
Okay, welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Our guest tonight, Laurie McDonald. This segment of Fade to Black is proudly brought to you by Life Change Tea. GetThetea.com. The banners are over at JimmyChurchRadio.com. Click, head over, go to the specials page. When you're done shopping, use the promo code FADER, F-A-D-E-R, and you will get free shipping. Laurie McDonald. She's here. She's a graduate of the Dale Carnegie Effective Speaking and Human Relations and a graduate of the Alchemical Hypnotherapy Institute of Sacramento. She has also assisted in the teaching of Alchemical Hypnotherapy of New Mexico. She is a member of the Sacramento Hypnosis and Sacramento Institute of Noetic Sciences, A.C.H.E., the American Council of Hypnotist Examiners, and has been a certified clinical hypnotherapist since 1995. Her practice is based on the belief that hypnosis is a powerful tool in healing with a variety of human issues, including anger control, weight reduction, smoking, stress management, addictions. She also offers techniques in the subconscious mind to maintain a positive focus and diminish mental images of fear-producing events. Now, Laurie has been visiting a few countries over the last year. I've been enjoying her post and her notes from around the world. And she just got back from Geneva, Switzerland, and a conference that was sponsored by China. Tonight, we're going to talk about the UFO question in Asia, and we're going to be taking a journey to the East. And I would like to welcome back to Fade to Black, Laurie McDonald. Laurie, good evening. How are you?
I am doing wonderful.
That's it?
I'm filled with joy.
There, that's it?
Hey.
That's it?
Oh, I'm a lot of things, Jimmy.
Well, the thing is, you are a bright ray of sunshine, and we just enjoy not only when you're on your on the show, but when we get to hang out with you too as well, because you tend to brighten everybody's day, and you got a great laugh, and you got an amazing life, and there you go. But welcome back. It's been, I went and looked. I don't even know if you realize, it's been over a year since you were on the show. Does that even seem like, is that possible?
Doesn't really seem like it. The last year has been just a blur.
And we, we used to until, you just started traveling the world, with some kind of staff like Gandalf. But the point is, we've done a lot of conferences together. We've done a lot of events together, and we seem to always have been around each other. You, Rita, myself, and our little group of researchers that we hang out with. And we haven't seen you in a year. It doesn't even, when you consider how much we've been around each other the last 3 or 4 years. But you've been out there getting it done. Besides Geneva, you've been posting pictures. Now, look, I could be wrong about some of the countries, but this might seem right to me. It's like Vietnam, right?
Right.
You went to, did you do the Philippines as well?
No, not the Philippines, but Vietnam was very interesting country. They have an amazing history in UFOs, primarily around the time of Vietnam.
Yes. And what was it? Just Vietnam? Why am I thinking there were more countries involved?
No, I went to Laos. I went to China. I went to Thailand. I went to some remote islands in the South China Sea.
Right.
And actually, I've been to Laos. Was actually one of the more interesting countries as well. Also close to the DMZ, so there was a lot of heavy military action there during Vietnam, especially around archaeological sites and temples.
Yes, that's right.
So the energy around these temples and archaeological sites on EMF readers and so forth is just buzzing.
Now, Anthony Bourdain, who just left this earth for another world, said something that affected me about Vietnam. Vietnam changed him. Mm. He went there one person and came back another, and he spoke about that a lot. Did it have the same effect on you?
I loved Vietnam. I did some heavy research into the jungle on the DMZ. I visited small towns and interviewed people with translators. But the country that had the largest effect on me was Cambodia. I spent a full month there and spent a little bit of time with the Buyong village, who haven't changed in a couple of thousand years, and except that they're having some anomalous activity these days, such as orange orbs, and people in the village are saying that they're seeing lights in the sky that shouldn't be there. In fact, they're saying that the sun isn't where it's supposed to be on sunrise, nor is it where it's supposed to be on sunset. And I have to tell you, I've heard this from a lot of people, and most recently, just before Geneva, I was on an Indian reservation here in Northern California on the Hupa reservation. And the Hupa have been around for about 10,000 years. And I was asked to come there by the elders because of the anomalous activity that they're having with the orange orbs, the lights in the sky. But interestingly, there had been multiple sightings of another tribe on the res where they're little, all under 3 feet tall, the women and children smaller, they're all naked. The men carry packs and bows, the women bowls and vessels to collect water off the Tishtang River through Humboldt. And so I went there to gather some evidence. In fact, one of the Indians said that he had a very good picture of a female Bigfoot down on the river bathing 2 small young children, little big feet. And so I went to collect that photo, but when I got there, he had been in some type of a brawl and was in jail. So I'll be going back up. He'll be released soon, and I'll get the picture then. But I did lots of investigation on the reservation, interviewed all kinds of people, and just have had my mind blown. But back to Cambodia, Cambodia was so special. One, because it has the world's oldest temple, Angkor Wat, is by Siem Reap. And I spent lots of time, exploring that area. But it was really outside of the sights and the food and things like that. It was the stories and the anomalous activity or paranormal or UFO activity that they don't always have a opportunity to talk about. So they're more than happy to share it when given the opportunity. And wow, so when you look at some of the sightings, like a Bigfoot here in Northern California, and you hear about something similar in the highlands of Cambodia, where there's a very thick forest and very thick jungle as well. I hiked to the very bottom of it to have an elephant experience, they're wild elephants, but we're accompanied by a mahout who speaks to the elephants in that Buang village tongue. And they did teach me some words so I could speak to the elephants, and they simply complied. They would come and follow me, and took them into the water to bathe them and feed them. But, it came with a warning. They are wild animals, and one was testy, and we were told not to touch her head because she'll kill us. So that was difficult, not to touch her head in the river because the waterfalls rush so rapidly that the undertow pulls you and just you bounce off the elephant. So I was just like aiming, low, like for a leg, somewhere on the side, just anywhere but her head.
Fascinating. I know, just fascinating. I'm picturing myself doing all of that. Just incredible. But I think that most wouldn't have Vietnam or Cambodia or Laos high on their vacation destinations. There are other places that people would consider first. For you, why head out there? And I remember seeing, I was like, why is she in Vietnam? So what pulled you there?
I worked with some United States Marine Corps vets who had experiences in Vietnam. And I wanted to investigate them myself. I wanted to go to the DMZ. I wanted to go to the small town. I wanted to be there and see if there was anybody still alive during that time who could validate some of the experiences that I was told. Vietnam is an amazing country. The people were beautiful. They treated us very well. I was full vegan the full time that I traveled through Asia, just because they really eat anything. And so there's lots of unidentifiable meat. But they would accommodate just about whatever you asked for. Really the nicest people. I mean, the nicest people on the planet are really Tibetans because they're kind. They have a core of innocence, and they're so gentle that I couldn't imagine anyone wanting to harm them. They are beautiful people, and I find a lot of the Asian people were like that. I did spend time in Thailand too. They weren't quite as warm and fuzzy as some of the other countries, but that's political. I mean, at this point, Thailand doesn't need American money, and so you're treated, they're aloof at best. But there was an island, a remote island, with very little on it, except very well-established fishing village was there that had been there forever. And they were seeing lights come up out of the water, hover into the sky, and then break into 2 or 3. And then with a flash, they would streak across the sky. And these village people, they're completely uneducated. They have zero formal education. They don't know anything about cell phones or Wi-Fi. They have limited electricity. I mean, that's a novelty. We only had electricity for a select number of hours per day, and it was at night. I mean, not during the hot time of the day when you might enjoy some air conditioning. But they had amazing experiences there and really no outlet at all to share them. But what they do know is the ocean and the sky. They navigate by it. They live out of the ocean. Those are the two elements that they know better than anyone. And when they're saying that they're seeing great changes and anomalous activity, then I believe them.
Well, let's go back to Vietnam really quick, if that's okay.
Sure.
You said that you were following up on the reports that you were getting from veterans here stateside.
That's right.
What were some of the stories that you were hearing?
Okay, they're complicated for the UFO field. They're more to do with portals opening and second dimensional entities coming through. These entities were bug-like and large. Perhaps everything in the second dimension is giant-like. I don't know. But they were describing bugs, spiders, that would look to be about the size of a Volkswagen vehicle. And as astonishing as that sounds, it was told to me by more than one vet who is not affiliated with each other. And then the word in Vietnam is that during the war, one of the portals accidentally was disrupted and open, and the entities just flew out of there, not wanting to fight, but not understanding what was happening, and they were in defense mode, and so there was combat. So you would hear over the radios in Vietnam, they would say enemy copter, enemy helicopter, and that meant UFO because back then Vietnam didn't have war-worthy helicopters, and so that was code for UFO. So you would hear them, and that UFO wasn't always just in the sky, although there are several well-documented battles, one by General Brown, who took it to all of the media, but it was squashed, and the story never got out. But he said that we were heavily engaged in military combat with extraterrestrial vessels, UFOs. And at that time, the ground crew were experiencing large insect entities. So
on the ground.
The ground.
So you got these reports from more than one source that didn't know each other, that said that portals, just so I'm understanding you, that a portal or portals opened up that weren't in control, and these forms, whatever, entities, insects, whatever they were, just came through, and when they did come through in mass, they were right in the middle of the Vietnam War.
Right, they were confused.
Right.
And they went into defense mode, and there was an exchange of gunfire. Well, not an exchange, just gunfire on our side, and they shot at them, and this created lots of havoc, as you can imagine. And some of the men on the ground, their mission was to not engage with the enemy. Their mission was to actually just blow up the temples. Now, not because of the social impact that would have. Obviously, it's devastating. It psychologically weakens the people, and so that's why we use that strategy.
Right.
But this was to stop the portals from opening. And so in talking to some people, they were saying that the temples where they're built on energy vortexes, and specifically at an exact geographic location because of the energy. And so I speculate only that at some time in our history, we were well aware of these portals. Perhaps we even used some of them, but the portals and temples, other archaeological sites, some even significant volcanoes and so forth are hot spots for activity.
The the thought of if I went through a portal and I pop out on the other side and I'm right in the middle of some alien ET battle, I'm going to get freaked out. I'm right in the crossfire, which is what they were experiencing when they came through to our side. So I totally get that part of it. But the other question that I have, when you went to Vietnam, were you asking specifically these questions about portals and entities that came through in the Vietnam War? And did anybody see any of this activity?
People did see some of the activity, or they heard from family members. I'm very careful not to lead the witness.
You can't do that. And so that's, how do you, how do you handle it? Plus, you're blonde, you're from Canada, from the United States, walking around Vietnam asking questions about, aliens and portals in the Vietnam War.
You know what? I washed that blonde right out of my hair before I went to Asia so that I didn't stand out in a crowd so much.
Okay, so you went as brunette.
Yeah, more of a caramely light brown, but
okay.
Yeah.
But you understand what I'm saying, and I don't want to make
yeah,
jest
I
of
do
this.
Understand. I get that on this side of the pond. Yeah,
right.
So yeah, absolutely. But they're very kind, and I have a way of disarming them. I am a hypnotherapist, so after talking to somebody, generally I can tell what words I should use to, help allow them to be more receptive or more trusting, or whatever I might need them to be, and for them to be able to speak their truth. But mostly the word is trust. Once that they trusted me, they couldn't wait to tell me or to go get their friends and family members, or, and we ended up in people's homes, and they were more than happy to share the information.
What were they? Okay, so what were they saying about it? And, they don't know who gave you the information over here. Was it lining up? Was the information the same?
Yes, it is the same. The trick is always, moving through their social, religious, and economic view and verbiage to get to just the facts. So they would interpret things from their religious perspective, or like here, somebody might say angel instead of alien if they're very Catholic. So whatever those were, I would have to sort of break all of those down, sift through that just to find sort of the meat or the commonality, the threads of the stories, to begin to weave together a picture of what's happening on the planet, or has been happening. And of course, Vietnam has been over for some time, but the vets are still alive, and many of them did experience these things, and they experienced it on the other side as well. So I think some of the entity sightings were by accident. However, were the military actually engaged with UFOs in the air? I had one experiencer say, his sergeant had sent him down into the jungle, and his mission was to stay there and stay awake all night. If the enemy line came close, he was to hustle back and let them know so they could move their line. He said something weird happened. The energy changed. He basically blacked out. And when he came to, it was to UFOs and helicopters fighting over the ridge that he was watching. And no enemy line was coming, because both the enemy and the American soldiers were eyes transfixed on the UFOs. And so for a time, there was just, again, confusion. But this happened also in the Second World War with the Foo Fighters. The Germans thought that it was an American new craft and vice versa. So whenever there's unsettled politics or war or fighting, we do have increased UFO activity.
What were we're going to hit a break here, Laurie, so I want to get this in real quick. What were the UFOs actually doing? Were they interfering with the war? Were they fighting us or the North Vietnamese? Were they not shooting? I mean, what was the intention?
They battled back.
Yeah, because I've heard this.
Because we opened fire. And I know the rules of war, well, you have to wait to be fired upon before you can fire back, or maybe that's just on Homeland. I don't know some of the rules of war, but we had fired on the UFOs and they went into defensive.
They shot back.
Right.
And let me look at the clock. When we come back after this break, you had mentioned orbs and going to investigate some of that stuff too as well. Did you have any close encounters when you were there?
I absolutely did.
Well, like what? What happened? Well, see, look, everybody knows, I talk about this a lot when it comes to you, that you're a magnet for this stuff. So if you're going to go to Vietnam and walk around in the jungles and start talking about this stuff, I'm sure you had some things go down. Tell me one quick encounter.
No, I had a UFO sighting very close to the balcony of a hotel that I was staying at. It was a Saigon hotel. And the UFO was more than visible, and I don't remember it leaving, just remember a light flash and then me deciding, instead of taking a picture, to lie down. That's never good, but that's what happened. In fact, just flying to Geneva, I was actually flying back to California from Canada a couple of months ago, and orange orb outside of the plane window showed other passengers. The stewardess saw, she went up to the cabin, she talked to the pilot about it, and he checked the radar. The closest plane was 20 miles, obviously just unexplained.
Unreal. I don't know where Rita and I were flying, but I didn't get a chance to see it, but she saw something out the window. I've always looked for stuff. I've never seen anything while I've been on a commercial flight. I've seen other planes, which always scares me. That's just too close. But I've never seen anything weird, and I'm always looking out the window. This is Fade to Black. Our guest tonight, Laurie McDonald. We're taking a journey to the east. More with Laurie after this short break on the Game Changer Network and KGRA The Planet. This is Fade to Black. Stay with us.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station, Salt Lake City, Utah, Van Buren, Arkansas.
Does your basement or crawl space have a damp, musty smell? Well, watch out. That's a sign of too much moisture and not enough ventilation. And that can mean increased mold growth and the buildup of harmful toxins and gases. Don't bother with a dehumidifier. It just circulates the same unhealthy air. Now there's a better way to remove these dangers and odors. It's with the computerized Wave Moisture Control Unit that reduces moisture and expels pollutants.
We replaced our old dehumidifier with the Wave unit, and in only 3 weeks, our basement is dry and the musty smell smell is gone.
Wave units require no maintenance, no buckets of water or filters, and costs only pennies a day to run. Breathe better, live healthier with an affordable, no-maintenance Wave unit. Call 888-717-WAVE, 888-717-WAVE, or visit dryhealthyhome.com. dryhealthyhome.com.
Ride the wave. Wave Home Solutions for a healthy, comfortable home.
Hello, I'm Katie, and you're listening to my main man, Jimmy Church, on jimmychurchradio.com.
Hi, this is Ray Hobbs here, repping the planet, and you're listening to my good friend, Jimmy Church, Fade to Black, on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA digital broadcast station.
This is Toby Kebbell. You're listening to jimmychurchradio.com. Don't hurt me, Jimmy. I'm only little.
Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier. And this is Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers. We're of the Honey Brothers. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier.
And I'm Ari Gold.
We're the Honey Brothers.
And you're listening to Jimmy Church.
The Revolution.
This is Micah Hanks of the Gralien Report, and you're listening to Jimmy Church on Fade to Black, across the globe on the Game Changer Radio Network and the one and only KGRA Radio, The Planet.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. You can follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. You can follow Laurie McDonald. She's right there. And I'll get her actual Twitter handle in just a second. The segment of Fade to Black is proudly brought to you by River Moon Coffee. And right now they've got a 20% discount on everything that they offer. Go to rivermooncoffee.com. Promo code is Coffee Break. 2 words. Laurie, River Moon Coffee, the best coffee in the world?
It was fantastic. I very much enjoyed it. Yeah, no, they donated some to one of our retreats. It was very generous of them, and all of the ladies appreciated it. It was a beautiful act on their behalf.
It's unbelievable coffee. And now that we got that out of the way, Angkor Wat.
Yeah.
How amazing was that? Tell me about that.
Wow. Okay. You know, Angkor Wat just called me in my dreams. I dreamed about it several times. I woke up and said, hey, Wayne, guess what?
Right.
We're going to Angkor Wat. I told him I really felt that I needed to. And it was very interesting. On the day that I arrived at the temple, I was on motorcycle, and there was hardly anybody there at all, which is just strange. And it's a huge temple, and here I am all alone. Wayne had gone somewhere else. I think I went to meditate for a while, and I found some stairs, and I climbed about 100 stairs or so and opened up into this little room, and there was a small candle sitting in the middle of the room. And as I approached it, the energy completely shifted. And I really felt that there was major observation there, like something else was there watching me. It wasn't a spooky feeling because, you know, those things don't creep me out at all. But it was very interesting. And it felt kind of like a validation or a confirmation that I was sort of on the right path, because it led me to some of the Naga stories. And the Anunnaki story is when half of them left and the other half had gone under the ocean and transformed into the Nagas, which are sort of like a serpent-like being. And you can see this through all of Asia, these long serpents, you know, wrapped around the pedestals of temples, or a Buddha would be sitting on one, or the bridge would be made of 2 long Nagas, you know. So I thought that I was definitely on the right path when I had found out that the Naga were completely related to the Anunnaki. So the Asia must have been one of the original landing spots. I think that's probably true, especially with Angkor Wat being the oldest temple ever recorded. Not only is it the oldest, it's the largest, and the main temple floats on water.
Yep.
So it's quite amazing. But the energy would change around me. And then just out of nowhere, I ran into a small group of novice monks and was able to spend a little time with them. And, they're very open to other dimensions, other beings. They don't think for a moment that none of this isn't real. Here in the Americas, North America, South America, people still question or doubt, and I believe that that's a program, it's a conditioning that anybody speaking about the subject should be shunned or, made to look ridiculous.
Right.
It's not that way there. They're just looking now for additional information. It's like they've hit a plateau and it's time for some growth. It needs to be really taken to the next level. What does it mean to them now? What can they do about it? And now they're in a position, both economically, to be able to do something about it. There's been a Skywatch group created in Vietnam. I thought that was quite cool, and in Cambodia. And same as it here, group of people going out basically looking for UFOs.
I just looked through probably 200 pictures of Angkor Wat, and I would say the vast majority of them, there's nobody standing in the pictures, right? It's empty. What is it like to walk around a temple like that, and you're virtually the only person there?
Well, I think I'm pretty hypersensitive to energy changing. And for the most time, I felt like a very deep inner peace. Interestingly, I felt very at home there. In all of the temples, the energy, the harmonics of it resonated in me. And I felt comfortable.
Now, what about it? Were you there to see the stars too as well? Were you there at night?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, I've got to know because there's like zero light pollution. It had to have been incredible.
Oh, absolutely. So from some of the really remote islands, the stars at night were breathtaking, and it seemed like there was 1,000 times more than there are in the sky from here. It's somewhat overwhelming. It takes you a minute to hone in on the ones that to create, the constellations. But it's powerful, to be on a small island in such a large ocean under such a black sky. It puts things into perspective, to talk to these people who come from a completely different lifestyle, and yet they can be so open and generous. And on that island, as it turned out, half the people on the island got sick. And I was one of them. I got the jungle fever when I was there on that island. And they were really great about trying to communicate with us to help us find medicine. They misunderstood and brought us several different things but I felt that everybody's heart was in the right place. Don't get me wrong. There are a few in the big cities, con artists, and even with experience traveling, we still got hooked into the baby milk scam that they do in Cambodia. That's where a woman will come up, she's barefoot with an empty baby bottle and a baby on her hip asking for milk. Try to give them money for milk, and they say no, they don't want money. They want you to go buy milk. They want you to buy a $30 container of some type of formula. Then they return it and get half the cash back, and the owner of the store keeps reselling it to kind-hearted tourists. So, there's always that side of traveling, but especially in the bigger cities, things like that happen. But in the remote areas, it's it's like definitely, you're far, far from home.
And I want to get back to these orange orbs.
Yep. I saw one recently out my bedroom window.
Well, what about Vietnam? We'll talk about your bedroom window in a second.
Okay. Yeah, well, in Vietnam, one did come. I see the orange orbs all the time. Okay, I mean, there is some research out there from other people, but really the main thing that you get from this is a feeling of awareness, that they're aware and they're keened in on you, and there's a connection. There's an awareness connection when you're looking at one of these, and it's just, there's no denying that. You're being observed, and you can really feel it. It's very obvious, and that's exactly what was happening. And so for a while there, I was thinking that perhaps it's some type of a consciousness monitoring, where they're really looking to see where we've grown, what we understand, our temperament. It feels like some type of a scan in that way. Doesn't feel negative, but they do seem to get pretty close to me. I mean, the closest that it came down was about telephone pole height, and it relaxes. It'll get a little bit smaller as it gets closer, which you would think would be the opposite, but that's not how it happens.
Right.
It's very interesting. And I do think that that's what they're doing. They're, checking our consciousness, our reality, what we believe, what's going to freak us out, what we're susceptible to, what we might be open to, and how well grounded we are in perhaps handling some of these activities. And it almost feels like a little test each and every time. When I did see one recently, I was like, okay, just, carry on. Why, right? But then, for whatever reason, I walked out of the house and onto the front lawn and just said, whatever, just ask. I mean, if you're getting this close, just knock at the front door, That's the frustrating part of all of this UFO phenomenon is, the lack of control, of being able to have a intelligent, monitored conversation without somebody freaking out. And we have a Skywatch coming up here in a couple of weeks, and it's really important to set the intention in doing the Skywatch, really setting the intention, making your intent clear, whether you want an open, clear sighting or communication or a power-up. But in making the intention clear and then having the group sort of settle in and settle down, relax the energy, sort of stay focused and be more directed in what they're doing, then we're more likely to have a group sighting. So we'll be hoping for that in a couple of weeks. And I'm feeling pretty good about it.
I'm still, for me, there's like 2 or maybe 3 types of things that happen that I've witnessed when I've gone out for these sky watches. There are some that are obvious craft, and I can't explain I don't know what they are, but they are flying. Then there are other things that appear to be more alive. Some type of, I don't know if it's a being or something interdimensional, but an orb-like, but there's that kind of thing too as well. And then there's the other ones that aren't necessarily a craft, not necessarily some type of orb thing, but that is communicating and flashing. And it's a fascinating thing to go out there and witness and know that there is something really going on that we just don't know a whole lot about.
Right. Well, there are some ships that, depending on how they are fueled, whether it's plasma or whatever, they'll stay higher in the solar system, up closer to the sun. They might use a type of a plasma energy. Other ships running off a different type of fuel can enter different stratospheres based on the craft. Now, that's assuming that they're extraterrestrial, but it seems that many of the sightings might be more interdimensional. And that's really something that we have to take a look at, to see. I think that pinpointing that will really help. And we know there's a hierarchy, and we know that the grays and the that gray federation is in the Milky Way area. We know that what planets they're in. It's like a bandwidth that they can operate within. Above that, more celestial beings, they'd be more of an energetic entity. Mm-hmm. And so we can tell which, where they come from, kind of. But it's very hard to do that how do we know extraterrestrial or interdimensional? And I think it makes a difference. I mean, I think that it makes a difference in the direction. If they're interdimensional, we want to know higher dimensions, lower parallel dimensions, just another third dimensional trap. There are things to be wary of.
There's as soon as I think something is plasma and then I see a laser reflect off of it, then I know that it's a solid. I thought it was plasma. It looks plasma-ish, and then a laser will bounce off of it and sparkle, indicating not only is it solid but reflective.
Well, they do display morphogenic qualities where they move from one form into another. So hard to gas and looking reflective. But so that's seeming to me more of a consciousness interface with their vessel, sort of like a Merkaba, where the entity interfaces with their craft, which allows that morphogenic quality. I think they say that it takes 3 pilots, if you will, to do an interface like that. And they slip in and out of space and dark space. So just below and just above the dimensions, there's I think they call it a node in science, where it's neither here nor there. It's just that one little spot, and the UFOs can travel through that. Some people have created these hypotheses that say those do lead into not just wormholes, but portals that will allow them to come in and out of any side of the planet at any time.
You just got back from Geneva, and I was surprised to hear you say that this was a conference sponsored by China. What did you mean by that?
Well, it was created, funded, and by Chinese, and the audience was Chinese. So when I would speak 2 or 3 sentences, it would then be translated into Chinese.
The audience was Chinese, the attendees?
Yes, all of them. Every single one of them.
What was that like? I mean, okay, was this a UFO conference?
This was the first annual Interplanetary Federal Peace Conference. And Yvonne Smith was there, and Ray Hernandez was there, and Ann Keller was there. And Ann Keller is the author of Dragon in the Sky. Mm-hmm. So that was interesting. And so that was it for the Caucasians. Everybody else was Chinese, and that was the format. It was by invitation only, both speaker and audience. So the audience mostly came from a particular spiritual belief system.
Did they did they travel there from? I'm sure that there's
Yes, they did. They traveled from China, but they also traveled from Australia, from France, and from New Zealand. They live in different places, and yes, they came from all of those countries. And I've been fortunate enough to have been invited to each one of those countries. To the south of France in Cannes, to Auckland, New Zealand, and I've been invited to Sydney, Australia now. So this will hopefully take place after my next trip to China.
Now, how many attendees?
There was probably about 300 in the audience.
Wow. Okay.
And very, very professional, very well funded. They spared no expense whatsoever. They took amazing care of us. And it was a real pleasure to speak for them.
Now, what kind of questions were they asking? Where was the general interest?
Well, in fact, the general interest was in your opportunity to use the experience for personal expansion of both your reality, your consciousness, steps to personal empowerment, to self-development. So these things happen. Yeah, your reality gets shaken up, but what do you do with the experience? Well, you have to view it from a different angle. You have to take a look at it and say, well, what is this telling me? Overall, what it's telling you is that other entities exist and that the universe is teeming with life and we are multidimensional beings. And so where do we take that? So there are next steps. There's a protocol really in understanding the phenomena. If you want to learn from it, I know that a lot of experiencers ask, why me? And the reason is because you're given an opportunity to awaken to a higher understanding of your multidimensional self, that this is in fact an opportunity for you to experience growth. And at the same time, you can learn to love, to forgive. All of these things are connected. There is a philosophy in the phenomena that you can use. So I think the trap is, spending too much time on the nuts and bolts and the, why or where is it from? All that's fascinating and it's very interesting, and I'll be interested in it for the rest of my life. But what's more important is that what it's telling me, what doors it's opening into understanding our place in the universe, and what our next step is as we see that we are on an ascension path, not just personally and spiritually, but the planet herself is on the upswing of ascension. In the dark ages in 600 to 611, the planet Earth was as far away from the sun as possible. Right now, we're moving closer and receiving different types of radiation. It's an opportunity for an awakening, for a jump in consciousness, for us to begin to stop being distracted with football and basketball and entertainment, but to look at ourselves and see what we can handle.
Yeah, and so it sounds like the audience, being Chinese, would be the same as any UFO conference over here. They are interested in the very same things. They are witnessing the same things. Probably abduction and experiencer stuff going on at the same time too as well, right?
Yes, and the Chinese in particular right now are hungering. They have an endless hunger for information, for understanding. They are experiencing a specific freedom that they've never had before as they move on the political stage into a world superpower. Things are changing, and they want to create a bridge of understanding. And really, if we share everything we have with them and they share with us, we're going to have a deeper and higher understanding of this phenomena where we can use it for something other than just entertainment. Although it is entertaining, there's a bigger picture here, and it has to do with ourselves, our soul, the manifested essence of who and what we are. I mean, it's a game.
Well, Chuck,
we got to learn how to play.
Right. Well, Chuck Fay, who's a radio host over in Hong Kong and has a great show over there called MJ13, Chuck is a great guy. And one of the things that I've talked to him about is all across China, they have UFO groups. They have research societies, and it's that part of it is pretty open. The government lets it go to a certain point, but the interest in UFOs is countrywide in China, and they're okay with I'm talking about the population there is okay with talking about it. And the government gives them a little bit of leeway and has always allowed these UFO groups to exist and flourish in China.
And for the same reason that the UFO groups were allowed to exist and flourish here, so that they can be monitored,
right.
Understanding what the people know. That's true. But there is a different way of understanding. I mean, the groups are great for experiencers sharing and learning some techniques and a deeper understanding of their own personal experiences. That's great. But we're not alone. We're really all connected into the grand totality of things. And so everybody sort of being on the same page, and it will expedite the greater understanding. So the Chinese right now are looking for a more spiritual aspect of the UFO phenomena, which I think is the right way to take it, to use that, as just the catalyst to a greater understanding. I mean, to just think that there are all these other entities and that they have infrastructure and politics and perhaps families. Maybe they love, maybe some don't love. It's not really a matter of good or bad at this point. It's a matter of it just is. And we have to deal with it from an unemotional standpoint, just the facts, okay? And taking it from there. That's what we need to do. The experiencer groups, a lot of people feel victimized. And although it's important to honor that victim energy, it has to be temporary because we need to take that into a survivor understanding and go forth with it from there. So the experiencer groups themselves, and I do oversee a couple of them, are limiting. They have to take that information and take it to the next level, or they'll be trapped in victim energy, and that is disempowering.
Let's take a break right here, Laurie. Our guest tonight is Laurie McDonald. And when we come back, we're going to get into some of the information that was shared with her about the history of UFOs in China. We'll be doing all of that next after this short break. It's Fade to Black. Our guest tonight, Laurie McDonald. Stay with us.
Way out here, we listen to Jimmy Church.
You're listening to Fade to Black.
Always on the edge of the hottest alternative talk. Jimmy Church with Fade to Black. KGRARadio.com.
¿Qué tal, mis amigos? Yo soy Mario Carson, el tiburón, y los invito para que escuchen a mi buen amigo Jimmy Church Radio. ¡Claro que sí!
Hurricanes, earthquakes, wildfires. This year we've experienced more than our fair share. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and last month I decided to make sure my family does not have to worry about food should we get caught in a real emergency situation. Introducing Numana, a healthy, storable product that tastes so good that you'll want to eat it every day instead of just during those times of duress. All Numana products have a 25-year shelf life, are MSG and GMO-free, no preservatives, and are made in America. With the Numana pack in your home, you'll be able to sleep at night knowing that you've protected your family. Not only have I tasted and tested, I own it. Now you can too. Just click on the Numana banner on jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code Jimmy when you order. In addition to a discount, we'll send you an autographed Fade to Black t-shirt. Seriously, go Beckley Tappy.
Do you worry a lot? Whether you're a college student, busy professional, parent, or grandparent, ongoing stress and elevated levels of the stress hormone cortisol can rob your memory, your health, and your future. Now you can combat the effects of stress and anxiety while improving your memory and recall at the same time with the dietary supplement Calm and Clever. Studies show that the ingredients in Calm and Clever reduce cortisol by as much as 30% in 1 to 2 weeks. Call 1-800-758-8746 or calmandclever.com.
You listen to us, and we listen to you. And so does the CIA. KGRARadio.com.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Oi, oi, I'm Reese Evans. You're listening to Jimmy Church. This is Revolution. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is on radio. Ciao.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. My guest tonight, Laurie McDonald, in this segment of Fade to Black is proudly brought to you by Ancient Life Oil. Ancient Life Oil, there it is right there. Do it every day. Just go to the banners over at jimmychurchradio.com. The best deals not only on the net, but it's also the best product out there, too, as well. So you get the combination of both. AncientLifeOil.com. Our guest tonight, Laurie McDonald, and we are taking a journey to the East. And, Laurie, when you and I were talking last week about Geneva, you said, Jimmy, I have a bunch of information that was passed on to me about the history of UFOs and the question, and that's dealing with China, and you had said that much of it has never even made its way to the West. How much of it have you had a chance to look through?
Well, it's an enormous document. It's 97 years of UFO history in China. It was sent to me several months before my invitation to Geneva. And then all of a sudden I get invited to speak in front of a Chinese audience. So
coincidence?
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I was like, I don't even know if I should go. No.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no question about it. Okay.
Yeah, so they shared, not only is this amazing documentation, it is all in Chinese, and it's really a process translating it into English. Professionally, it's like $30 a page. It's and I've got well over 1,500 pages.
Oh, holy crap!
Yes, it's an amazing sized document, and it was accompanied by recent videos of experiencers and witnesses. And I did have all of those translated while I was in Geneva with my translator. They were kind enough to provide me with a translator while I was there for just about anything I needed. They just sort of followed us, which was very nice. But they watched the videos with me, and it was pretty obvious, but they're talking about what are gray aliens. They're talking about classic abductions. They're saying that they're small, that you can see the man indicating the height of the being with his hand. It's roughly 34, 36 inches. He seems terrified, and he's more than happy to give his story on this camera. it was at one of those meetings that you had talked about. So, so that's where some of the films came from. I'm glad that those came with the document. The document also has just an unbelievable number of sketches and witness accounts hand-drawn and signed by the witness, and so shapes of UFOs as well as entities. The entities are all very large-eyed. I'm just pulling up the document right now.
And going back to this 97-year history, now $30 a page, 1,500 pages.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I did the math. You're right. That's an enormous sum to get this translated. But you've made your way through a big chunk of this. Did you start at the beginning, or did you start with the new stuff? Which way did you go first?
I started at the beginning.
You did? Okay.
I think that's the way to do it.
That's what I would have done. Okay, so what was the earliest 97 years ago? Okay, so this would have been before Roswell by
That's
27 years. Roswell was 70 years ago. So let's talk about that. What was that? So that would have been, wow, that would have been 1920?
Well, in fact, they have their own classic Roswell story. It sounds just like Roswell, except that it precedes it by several decades. I actually have passed on some of these documents to Opus so that through our own fund, we can have some of them translated. Also, just saying I'm not doing it all on my own. But yeah, right from the very beginning, they talk about crashed UFOs. They talk about beings interacting with people. And then later, it sounds very much like any one of our military cover-ups where the people were silenced and so forth. So just the fact that somebody went to a lot of trouble to get me this.
Well, what year did this crash happen and retrieval?
That was probably, I'm going to say, in the early 30s.
Early 30s, okay.
If I remember correctly, I'm going to say like 31 or 32.
What part of China?
It's called Xi'an. It's at the end of what's referred to as the Silk Road. It's in the vicinity of where I think the Fadernauts would know the Terracotta Army. Mm-hmm. It's right in that area there.
And so early 30s, crashed saucer.
And retrieved.
And retrieved.
Lots of witnesses. Yeah, it was outside of the village that it happened. And it looked like, from what I can see, it wasn't a crash, an accident.
What do you mean?
That they saw it falling from the sky, like out of control.
And did they see... I'm trying to think. 1930, China. I'm not so sure about, vehicles and things like that and what the status of the military was. How did they get the craft out of there? Were there reports of that? I don't picture a flatbed in 1930.
I don't know, but China has always had a sophisticated military, right back from the time of great emperors.
Always, but I don't know. We're talking about 1930 here. 1930, even the United States military was still riding some horses. So, but what I'm trying to picture
I mean, sure, there were vehicles.
There were, and that's what I'm trying to say. I'm wondering how they got it out of there. If it was on the back of, if they managed to procure a flatbed truck.
Some was speculated that some of it was buried.
Oh, see, now that's where I'm going with this. Right. Okay. That's now that would make a lot of sense. What about reports of technology or or anything that China may, and this is what I find fascinating. And with your research, the United States isn't the only country in the world with the UFO phenomenon. Well, that's an obvious thing to state. But the talk here about us getting, stealth technology or circuit boards or optical fiber and Kevlar and night vision, all of these things that potentially transistors that came out of the Roswell crash, there's that side of it. Well, certainly other countries have had that same thing happen to them. And did China take advantage of any of this tech?
I haven't got to anything that would look like that yet, but it's early on. So, I mean, once I get to more recent ones, maybe I'll be able to see if they have some type of technology. It's been said that a lot of the technology does come from extraterrestrials, but I'm not going to say all of it. I mean, we have our fair share of geniuses and inventors like Tesla and others who understand the energy of the universe, the code, the computer code of the universe. And I think India right now is the world's leading in computer technology. And I know a lot of people think that's Silicon Valley and so forth, but not the case. I believe it's still India. So I'm not sure what China's big technology was or what they brought to the table, but I'm sure it has to do with war stuff.
Well,
atomic war.
And they're so secretive when it comes to what they have, what is inside of that country. I mean, they just keep it on lockdown, and so we trying to get that information. Being here in the West, it's probably would be nearly impossible. And if you were inside of the country and Chinese, a citizen there trying to find this out, it would be difficult because they keep everything on lockdown.
They do. You wouldn't think that when you're there. When I was in Shanghai, it's, very advanced. They're extraordinarily wealthy. There's just trillions and trillions of dollars in that country, and the people are wealthy. They are, in Shanghai, the majority of the vehicles on the road were extremely high-end Mercedes, and that's just sort of that level. There's a huge amount of money in China, and the people are experiencing that money now. And I think that's what's going to sort of create a little bit more change, as far as them finding out additional information. But, they're very advanced, very wealthy. They just come from it all from a different perspective. I'm not to say that, they don't have their own remote villages and levels of poverty, just like we do in America, where the rest of the world thinks it's such a wealthy country.
What other things did you pull out of that document? What stands out?
Well, so far what stands out is the descriptions of the grays. I wasn't really expecting that, actually, not until later. I wasn't expecting the early documents and the drawings to look like grays. I just wasn't expecting that. I was thinking that it would be more jinn-like, which I'm working with an experiencer now who has lots of activity with the jinn and understands them from an entirely different perspective. So they're just an ET race that, works on a different vibration or whatever. But that's what I was expecting to see, not the grays, because from what I've always understood, that's more of an American and North American thing.
Right. Well, what year are we talking about here with these reports of grays?
They go back. So far, every picture, and I can't always read the dates. I mean, I do understand certain symbols in Chinese. I recognize numbers. I recognize north, east, south, and west. I can get it a little bit. I can even speak a little, but it's hard in deciphering. But yeah, I can't give you a date without definitively right now because I don't remember. Can't remember how far back.
But are we, in a general sense, Laurie, what are we talking about here? Are we talking about reports from, the 1950s talking about grays? And
that sounds about. I would say that would be a fair statement to say at this time. That during the 1950s they had their gray alien experience, and it does make me, really question how much government interaction the Gray Federation has, and not only with perhaps our own government or the German government, which that was speculated for a very long time, but perhaps even the Chinese. We don't know who they're trading with.
Well, when we look at, and I do this all the time, when I look at reports and research and stories and books, where it's one thing to have somebody from 1990 talk about what they, the statements were made in 1990 or 1991, 1992 about a gray alien from 1947 or 1950 or 1955, but that is a 1990 statement. It's a whole nother thing to have somebody give a statement from 1950 talking about a little gray alien. And if that's indeed what you're sitting on there...
Well, I mean, it does look like the grays, like I'm saying.
Right.
These are drawn by the witnesses, and they're very similar to Zetas as well. And just for the record, my own mother... in the year that I was born in 1963, had her experiences, which look like Zetas and kind of look like grays. They're basically the same height. The difference is in the shape of the eye socket, though. Mm-hmm. And these are being drawn by amateurs. So I'm doing my best with it. They look like grays to me. That's what stood out in my mind. I'm kind of shocked by that. It wasn't really what I was expecting because I thought it was this. But my own mom, in her notes, which she had documented her experiences before she gave me up for adoption, of all of the experiences that she had while she was pregnant with me. And the beings that she said she encountered, and I didn't find this out until 5 years ago.
They
look like a kind of a cross between a Zeta and a gray. Same height. The skin is, she said, more beigeish, and the eye sockets are described differently. But some people, other researchers, say that they're basically cosmic cousins, the Gray Federation and the Zetas.
Are there any official Chinese government documents in this 1,500 pages?
I don't know that yet.
Well, you've looked at them.
I have looked through them. I don't know. I can't say what's official, what an official Chinese document looks like till I have one to compare it to.
But the rest of it, is it a report? Is it compiled?
It's compiled, man. It is organized. They're detailed. They have like a table of contents they got it broke down for me. So the big deal is in translating it. But right now, I'll be honest, I flipped through, and of course I was attracted to the pictures because I want to see what they're drawing, and I can't wait to have the whole document translated into English and then begin to really see what they're trying to say. But it does make me speculate that the Gray Federation has had dealings with most likely the Chinese government, and that's been kept. We know the Chinese space program is far more advanced than ours. Their telescopes, their space telescopes are absolutely amazing. If you want to see beautiful high-resolution images of space, and you go and look at theirs, I mean, because when you go to NASA, they're always fuzzy or poor quality. I mean, we know that's on purpose, but the Chinese, they very advanced in space.
And going back to this 1930 crash retrieval, were there drawings or anything that accompanied that?
Hold on, up on my other computer right here.
Okay, well, you need to. Well, okay. I thought you had it. Well, remember, Laurie, we are live on the radio.
Oh, yeah. Darn, I tend to forget those things.
Yes, but...
just kidding, I didn't forget.
No, I understand. I understand.
No, it's 1,500 pages, and yeah, it's a very huge document, and it is in Chinese. So,
how did this document come to you? Was it on a file, or was it?
Yeah, it came on a file to me, on a couple of files to me, and he said on his end, he's also having parts of it translated into English for me that he wants me to see. In fact, his hope is that when I'm finished with this, that I'll bring it to the media. He's asked me, his name is Jinping, and it came from Beijing, and he asks that he says his hope is that when I'm finished with it, that I will be able to bring it to the media. He's putting this into my hands, and he hopes that I'll be able to do that. So,
did you meet him in person in Geneva?
I have not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
I don't know that they're two related, but it is a coincidence.
Are there photographs in this document?
There are videos of him speaking to witnesses. Yeah, there's a couple of videos. Eyewitness tells about his experience.
But again, are there photographs of sightings and maybe even things on the ground?
There are some photographs, and there are lots of drawings as well. See, and Jimmy, photographic evidence is hard. The sketches are difficult too, but we've got very little to work with as researchers. I mean, we have to take the testimony of people's experiences, and they can give us old Polaroid shots. They can give us their journals of when they documented it and how they drew it out. And we have to take that at face value until we have a reason not to. I'm beginning to put it together. I mean, it's early on. I really do wish I had more for you because I'm just really delving into it. When I do have a bigger picture, your media.
Well, yeah, thank you for that. And I hope that I would be at the top of your list. There is a really old historic picture, and I think it's in Shanghai. I could be wrong. Of a busy street and of everybody pointing, and there's an object at the end of the street between the buildings, and you see the old cars. It's obviously in the early 1900s. I think there's even horses. I'm looking at the picture here. Yeah, there's a horse and buggy right in the middle of it. That's a pretty insane picture. Is that part of this document? Does anybody comment about it, is where I'm going?
There are comments on lots of different sightings from different towns and villages, and lots of, so far, lots of different descriptions of craft in the sky, everything from sort of a classic saucer that we would all imagine as a classic saucer to what looked like more of the long cylinder-shaped ones. So those were seen as well. So, and that is why it's important to bring the information from different countries, from all of the different countries, and speaking to as many witnesses and moving through this stuff, what's real, what's, what is natural or unnatural, and really trying to put it together. And the big picture is starting to look like, they've been here for quite some time, but we're at a point right now where it's sort of up to us to take the next step to initiate what would be an appropriate protocol. And the only way we're going to know how to do that is to learn about the psyche of the extraterrestrials involved. If the Greys keep showing up in all of these different countries, when for the longest time I thought that was really a North American story, though you would hear it in the United Kingdom or sometimes Australia, but it wasn't really something you associated with other countries because they always had their own description of entities. But when we see that they keep showing up, it might be all the more reason to learn about, say, the Grey Federation or the Zetas, what their particular agenda is. And if we don't know who's talking to who, that's slightly deceptive. I mean, when we're looking at a disclosure and wanting to understand the UFO phenomena, the extraterrestrials themselves are going to have to be involved in that disclosure. And it would have to be done more on a world scale. And I know that you are aware that the UN, probably in 2013, had a meeting, and 13 different countries brought their UFO material to the table, and they shared images from their air forces and so forth. And so, the countries are talking about it, but that's, really looking at it from their perspective, military, and we don't know if that's from a position of defense or not.
Right. And I am looking, we've got to take a break right here. I'm looking at this picture. It's from Tianjin, Japan, 1942. Wendell Stevens is the source of this photograph, and I've looked at it so many times. And he gives a pretty complete description on where the picture came from, and it was from a young Japanese student and so forth. But when you look at this picture, some have said that this was a hat that was thrown in the air. I don't see that. It's too large of an object. But this is also 1942, right in the middle of World War II at the time, and China and Japan going at it too as well. And could this have been another classic situation of E.T. getting involved or monitoring what was going on during World War II? And in this case, clearly over China. It's an amazing photograph. Let's take a break right here. Our guest tonight is Laurie McDonald. We're taking a journey to the east. She just got back from Geneva, a conference sponsored by a Chinese UFO group. And we're going to talk more about that when we come back. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Stay with us.
Hi, everybody. This is Rob Halford, the Metal Guard on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station. Salt Lake City, Utah. Van Buren, Arkansas.
Okay, nurse, let's get this man to the ER stat.
Right away, doctor.
We see this every day. Heart attack or angina pain due to blocked and clogged arteries. Chelation can remove obstructions or blockages from arteries and help avoid painful and expensive surgery. Now there's Angioprim. It's a liquid oral chelation product that you take with juice. You start to feel the results fast. Angioprim increases blood flow all over the body, and that means more energy and strength to take on the day with less aches and pains. 60 years of research has gone into chelation, and Angioprim is the result. A safe and easy way to unblock your veins and arteries from buildup that slow circulation.
Paging Dr. Jones. Please report to the emergency room right away.
Log on now for a special radio offer from Angioprim. That's angioprim.com/radio. ANGIOPRIM. Angioprim.com/radio or call 877-882-7221. That's 877-882-7221.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on the smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Your contact for current news and trending topics. KGRAradio.com.
What can I say about the most popular tea on the internet? And what do customers say about Life Change Tea at GetTheTea.com? A lot. But by federal law, we at GetTheTea.com cannot make claims to how this product can enhance your health. We cannot even post our testimonies without being in compliance. So how do we get past the hump? Try our products at GetTheTea.com and see for yourself. You can send us a testimony, but we just can't post it. Bummer. Our products are GMO-free and organic. We pride ourselves in being the best we can be, and we urge you to take charge of your health. We're 11 years strong, and many of our customers have shared their successes with friends and family. Protect your colon. Log on to GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. GetTheTea.com. GetTheTea.com.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi available, you can still listen to every minute of Fade to Black by just calling 605-562-4482. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and no extra cost if you have unlimited minutes. Just call 605-562-4482. You can listen to me, Jimmy Church, on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Go Beckley Tappy.
You want to know a secret? I love ponies. I really love ponies. I'm serious. I couldn't stay sane without ponies to brush.
Why fade to black? Because you never got that pony, damn
it. This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Our guest tonight, Laurie McDonald. Taking a journey to the east, and we're talking about China and UFOs. And I'm going to post this picture from 1942 here in a second. But Laurie, last week we had Stephen Bassett on the program. And one of the things, and I don't know if you caught it, but one of the things that he brought up when we were just talking about disclosure right before the break. And what he brought up was, you know, if we don't hurry up and get it done and continue with disclosure here, somebody else is going to step up and do it. And it could quite possibly be Russia or China, or they may do it together. What do you think about that?
I think that many countries have already sort of done that. They've leaked it out. They're not opposed to admitting UFO involvement with their military, with their Navy, more so than their air forces. But you know, I guess Stephen, being the political guy that he is, you know, Steve's probably just thinking from the point of view is that if we don't do it first and somebody else does it, then that world focus or attention is going to be on that country. But, you know,
and he's right.
China might be the one to do it prior to the United States. I think right now with the struggle for superpower, and superpower comes with super wealth, and they have the solid economy. They can prove it. Whereas, you know, when America was asked to show their gold, yeah, they couldn't do it. But just for the record, Jimmy, the sponsors or promoters of the conference in Geneva primarily was Latsu College. It's a Taoist college, and like I said, their interest is really in the spiritual implications and ascension in regards to UFOs. But I just pulled up in China in 1931. I just took, because that's the year I remember I was reading that one of the pages that was translated. I will cross-reference my work later, but I just pulled one up online, and yet, sure enough, the headline is 1931 UFO, mania in China. They said everybody was hot about UFOs in the 1930s. It says, though, in this article that they're not so interested today. I don't believe that that's accurate. I think they're very interested.
Okay, stay on the microphone, Laurie.
I will.
You're wandering. But I think that you hit the nail right on the head in that the country that does disclose officially, okay, we've got a craft, we made contact, video evidence, and just go, okay, here, they've been visiting, they're visiting now, and that's it, discussion over. That the worldwide focus is now on that country, no matter who it is.
That's right. And that means a major tilt in power. Absolutely. It is and will be the biggest thing in our modern history. It is going to change. It'll be like a new world, actually. Because people will have elevated their consciousness, and with all that attention on one country, can you imagine the focus and energy? Everybody's going to be wanting something from that country because they're the connection to the extraterrestrials.
Well, there's that part, which is probably the biggest, but the other part is the technology that they could possess from that, and what information are they sitting on that was given to them from ET, real or not, right? They are now in a position of not only power but dominance because of this.
Well, that's true. And this is why it's very important we have some type of psychological makeup and an understanding of an agenda with any extraterrestrial or interdimensional being that's going to come forth and say, hey, look, we know how to manipulate scalar energy, and we can reverse T cells and create a healthy, balanced body. How great is that? So we're going to have that sort of thing in medicine and in infrastructure and in weapons, of course. But how about space travel? That's where an emphasis will be on space travel, how they got there, how far can you go? And this is going to change the world as we know it. For some of us, the world has been changing for a while, and we're right in that transitional period, and something's got to give.
And what about China's Area 51? Where is it?
Well, that's top secret.
Well, it is. It is. I've been trying to get some of my Chinese friends to talk about this, and it's a zone that they simply won't go into.
Yeah, but we might be able to process of elimination, find it out. There's a couple of different ways, energy grids of the planet, such as the ley lines. I would imagine that they're close to them, just like our own Area 51 in Nevada has its own energetic ley lines. And so there are a couple of things, if somebody really wanted to sort of back engineer where they would do that, could begin to narrow it down. But what would that do? I mean, I'm sure that they're being as secretive as they are And with the amount of money that they have, and their work ethic, I have to say, they really, if they were to be the country that came forward, they for sure, without a doubt, would be the world superpower. But that's not the best reason to divulge the information. I think that the information has to be done where it would serve the purpose of humanity, so that as a whole, we take the next step in understanding that that type of information doesn't have borders. It's for the people, and it has to be looked at from a higher perspective.
Are there reports out of China about the government making deals with ET or in possession of bodies, live or dead?
I believe, yes, that they've live bodies of extraterrestrials. That's actually just from a story that was told to me when I was on my last Asian trip, that they felt that they saw hybrid people. The person described their experience in China kind of like an abduction, sounded like a My Lab abduction, because sort of everybody was there. It was like people in lab jackets and actual entities. So whether they were captured or working, hand in hand, which that does sort of make sense that they would be working. But what type of an entity would do that, right? That's the thing we have to look at. An entity that comes to a new world, and they get into some type of a agreement with the government and in trading technology, trading for what?
When were you in China last?
August of 2017.
August of 2017. Okay, so you just missed being there in December during the days of disclosure that were happening here in the United States, and the way the media was covering it. Do you think that the media in China was covering that New York Times article the same way that Fox and CNN and the BBC and RT and everybody else was covering it?
I am not familiar with that article, Jimmy.
You're not familiar? Stop.
No, I listen, for the last year I've been in, and it's actually always been my thing, is I do my own research, and I hardly ever pay attention to what else is going on unless it crosses my desk for a specific reason. It's kept me untainted to a certain degree, because the less I expose myself, the less I have that influence in my own process of judgment. But no, I'm not familiar with that article.
Well, there's a guy named Tom DeLonge.
Now I do know him.
Okay, Blink 182. He's got He's got a company that he started. It's called To the Stars Academy. Okay, and this To the Stars Academy sold some stock. They got a little bit of dosh, a little bit of cash, and turned that into some pretty good publicity for the UFO question. And one of the things that they did was they got an article written and published in the New York Times about the Pentagon having an alleged, I will say, it's not official, an alleged UFO research program going on inside of the Pentagon that was run by, I'm not going to get into the details. I don't have the time. But
no, I know about, I'm aware of the research in the Pentagon. And
well, so they got this article written in the New York Times, which is on December 16th, 2017, which was then brought out on every single mass media network planet-wide, and it was there for about 3 months. UFOs on CNN, lead story. And with some, again, alleged videos that were accompanied with that. And many have called that disclosure, that it was official, and that the Pentagon was behind this. And the guy that ran this program came out, and he's now working with DeLong, too, as well. And he's out there talking about all of this. And so my question was, as big of a story as that was worldwide, which slipped by you, and I find that fascinating.
I mean, I read other articles, just not the New York Times one.
Okay. Well, but my question was, do you think that China covered it like Russia did? Did they release this into the public there in China and cover this story that just about every other country on the planet did?
I don't think so. I don't think so. Although, it's very contradictory where, the leaders in China are saying that the people aren't interested in the UFOs, but the people themselves are saying that they are. So, yeah, I don't know how China covered it, but, was that disclosure, that footage from the cockpit, that Navy jet, it looked like it. That's, the CNN releasing footage from a military jet saying that they were following a UFO. But it said UFO, which is just an unidentified flying object. So it didn't say a spacecraft, but it implied it.
You didn't freak out, is what you're telling me. You didn't go, whoa.
Not really.
Wow, that's interesting.
I mean, I saw it, but it's just crumbs. It's just like a little test. They'll put out a however many minutes the clip was, and
right.
And then there was some controversy around it that the sounds in the cockpit weren't authentic and so forth, and so this is why I hardly ever delve into any of that. I've seen myself jets chasing what looked like a UFO. I've seen that myself. So, seeing the CNN, seeing it play on CNN, I mean, it's good for the community to go, hey, look, they played it on CNN, and now all of a sudden CNN's legitimate. But, a month prior to that, it was on CNN, it's just.
So it doesn't matter to you if Tucker Carlson and his bow tie on Fox talking about UFOs, that doesn't change things?
There have been many news reports on UFOs. I mean, what it's going to take, really, like I said, I just think it's going to be the aliens themselves have to make the disclosure, because the media and the government are not trusted by the people. Well, and they've got them confused. That's the thing. People don't know whether to trust NBC, CBS, or CNN. They don't know. And should they? No, because every single network plays the same news. It's called a program for a reason. It's highly programmed. So yeah, I can't buy into it on the same emotional level as other people do, or I've seen so much personally, but I also think I have a view of the bigger picture and how they release information, and without the people trusting the government or the media, that's a problem. I'm going to tell you something, Jimmy. When I was on the Indian reservation a couple of months back, my guide, his name was Chester, he told me something very interesting. He said, there's a word that the white man brought to the reservation we had never had in our vocabulary. And I said, and what word was that? And he said, maybe. And I totally got it. That creates confusion. And if you don't know for sure, you can't trust, and it leaves you disempowered. Just that one word, maybe. And trust is a huge factor. and the people are not trusting the news or the government. And so I'm going to have to take it a little bit higher and begin to tap into our own higher self, begin to trust ourselves, begin to do our own research. Everybody should be doing their own research, checking it out, and seeing how it affects the different bodies of the human. You know, that's really where it is. I mean, CNN putting this out there, you know, Jimmy, that was deliberate. And if they wanted big disclosure, we would have got big disclosure. That was baby disclosure.
I don't, what I don't understand with it was the complete about face from the mass media of joking about this subject. That happened overnight. It was like they were told not to giggle, right?
Well, they are told. Every single news, small town to medium-sized towns to huge networks across the country, all report the same stories using the same verbiage, laughing at the same punch marks. It is a program. It's all a program, actually. And we have to be able to learn how to see the program, understand it, and then find, you know, like our authentic self. That's the trick here. It is a program. And in the media, yeah, when you see a little town in Iowa and they have almost verbatim the exact words that they have on the news here or in your town, you know, that's not a coincidence. That's on purpose. They're told exactly what to say and how to say it because words have power and they are creating the energy, the emotional energy of how they want the public or the masses to be. It's kind of about control.
Rita just said she wants to know how to say "I believe" in Mandarin. What, you can't?
I don't know. Even if I did say it, you know, there's like 6 tones in the Mandarin language, and I think I only master like 4 of them.
I want to know how to say "I believe" in Mandarin. I got to ask Chuck Fay.
Moi is the word I.
What is it?
Like moi.
Hold on. So I'm gonna find out now. Did you and going back to this Tom DeLonge thing?
Yeah.
In Geneva, this Chinese audience, this Chinese UFO delegation, higher consciousness Taoist congregation. Did anybody ask you about Tom DeLonge and TTSA?
No, not a one of them.
That is fascinating.
And trust me, I was busy when wasn't attending the conference. I was doing sessions. It was crazy. They all wanted to learn how to access different parts of themselves, the subconscious or superconscious mind. They're really into that developmental part of it. But yeah, they are believers. Primarily, they're looking at the higher love part of ufology, that if you shake off the lower energy and the manipulation and break free of the program, begin to take the more Taoist view, you can see that there is a higher way of looking at things. And when that's the case, the frequency changes and the entities that are attracted are more of those sort of celestial beings, and they aren't anything at all like the Grey Federation or the Pleiadians or any of those ones that you hear the experiencers talk about. A lot of that's a program. It's a way to manipulate the masses and to test to see psychologically where they're at and how easily they'll turn over their power to another being. not understanding the ramifications on the soul or on the ascension part. So it's far bigger than just a craft in the sky or a gray alien. It's what aliens, their agenda, and how to resonate with the higher frequency. Because, Jimmy, I believe that it's our energy can attract them. When we're vibrating at that sort of the place of equanimity, of deep peace inside, when we're non-judgmental but just don't engage in negativity, we attract a higher frequency. The higher frequency brings a different type of entity altogether. I say this because I've experienced both what was frightening and what would be considered just really beautiful. And that's up to us. You know, we're the common denominator. We're 50% of this equation, maybe more. I mean, with the powerful ability we have to co-create our reality.
I've got it. I just tweeted it out right here. I believe in Mandarin Chinese. I've got it. And not only do I have that, but I've got it one step further. Let me get this out here to the Twitterverse here. This is really, really cool. It's, I'll tell you how to say it here in just a second. It is, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Wo Jiangjin.
Yes.
That's it. I've got it right here. I got the whole pronunciation. I've got the Chinese characters. And it's up in Twitter. You need to go check it out. I'm sure it's been retweeted now about 5,000 times.
Yeah, I'll find that. I'll have to look hard for Twitter.
You know, Twitter's going to be big, Laurie.
You know, listen, it's not that. I'm sure it already is. I just, you know, I'm like 5 minutes on social media and then I've lost interest often. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty, well, I have issues with a lot of social media. And which is why, you know, OnStellar was created. So now I feel good about things when it comes to social media and OnStellar. I don't like what Facebook has done, not only to this country, but to the rest of the world. I'm feeling more and more uncomfortable with what is going on there. I don't think Facebook is being honest with us. At least with Twitter, you're just doing direct communication. Right? And you're saying it in a very simplified form, and you're not being choked back. You can, you know, whoever your followers are, you do a post and it goes out there too. You do a tweet and it gets out to everybody. And I don't think at this point there doesn't seem to be an agenda, but I think there's an agenda with Facebook. I really
there's
do.
no Facebook in China.
No, they have their own. What's it called?
I don't know. I do know that they have their own, but
it's called Wo Jingjing. No, I'm just kidding. I have no idea. I really want to go to China, and I would like to check it out. And the communication that I've had with Chuck Fay about the openness of the UFO question that is there, he says that it's better than what we think. But it's not free form. It's not a free for all. You can't go and do whatever you want with it. And also, investigating UFOs over there is difficult, and you have to get on VPNs and private networks to do it, because what is there, they have their own Google, they have their own Facebook, and they have their own ways of censoring the internet over there. So there's that part of it, too. But as far as being openly discussed in society, that part of it is pretty open.
Right. You know, and again, it's the attitude that they have towards it. They are interested in it. But, you know, it is a communist country. I mean, that's a fact. And so in investigating anything there will be difficult. I do plan on doing some investigating while I'm in China. I've been invited to teach a workshop at the Lao Tzu College, and possibly consider a longer-term teaching position. Also a speaking tour across China, and it's a very big country, and so I'm excited about that, and I'm thrilled to have audiences that are really interested in the personal empowerment part of it, and in forging a relationship with a cosmic entity that is based on common ground, not on what they can give us, but in understanding a higher truth, something that's respectful, and not just about, technology. Although it will be difficult if an extraterrestrial offers a particular country healing modalities.
Well, that's a big part of it. And somebody is going to be the lucky drawer of that straw, and I don't know who is ready for it. And I'm talking about governments. Is the Chinese government or Russian government, the United States government, are they ready to have the attitude and consciousness adjustment that it would take to be accepted into those circles? I don't think it's a treaty or just a deal. You're not going to make a deal. You have to bring something to the table. I think part of that is an understanding of who we are.
Well, it's self-control. The Chinese people exhibit better self-control than perhaps the Russians or Americans or Canadians. We're easily distracted. We have poor diets.
Well, what about Japan? I mean, Japan would be able to bring something to the table. I think that their consciousness has been adjusted. I mean,
small country, though.
Yeah.
They don't have the numbers. When you look at the numbers and you realize how energy works, if you can get billions of people on board with the same thought,
right, with
the same openness or receptivity to receiving a higher frequency, if it's explained to them that, and they're already into the meditation part of it, that if they can sort of clear certain blocks in the body, it opens a channel of higher energy that allows a different type of life.
I wonder if Chinese television and broadcast, if they have a show based on UFOs, like Ancient Aliens or Hangar One, the UFO Files. I wonder if they have anything like that in China. Do you know?
I don't know. I didn't watch any TV while I was there, but I will check that out. I'll see. Yeah. I'm curious. Well, I know people now that live there that I've been in communication with since I came back from Geneva. I'm going to ask them.
Well, Chuck Fay was over here with his documentary film crew, and he shot not only at Contact in the Desert, but he went all across the western part of the United States and went to many different locations and was shooting. And he lives in Hong Kong. So there you go.
I might have met him before.
You would know.
Yeah.
You would know.
Familiar.
Just look up Chuck Fay, Jimmy Church, and you'll see some pictures of him.
Okay.
Yeah, very cool guy. It seems like you should have met him. I can tell you this much. We were definitely at the same place at the same time many times. So if you haven't met him, you've definitely seen him. But he's a very talented guy. And I'll tell you one thing that he did do. It'll be up here on Twitter here in a minute. As soon as I mention this, he sent us a picture of himself at the Great Wall wearing a faded black shirt. And
very cool.
Yeah, so you may have seen that picture float around on Facebook or somewhere else, but that's Chuck Fay wearing the faded black shirt at the Great Wall of China.
I have one of those shirts.
Yes, you do. And so does Wayne.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Laurie. What are you going to do? If you go to China for an extended visit, are you taking Wayne with you?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. He's finishing a book on overseas retirement. So, in fact, it would be a great opportunity for him to check that out.
And there was one other thing that got away from me. I want to go back before I forget. You said that when you were going through Laos and Cambodia and Vietnam and Thailand, that you were straight vegan, right? Because of the strange meats. What about the strange vegetables?
No, I could identify most of them, so that seemed okay. I like tofu, so I was okay eating that. But I did post a menu from Cambodia. I think I was in Siem Reap, and I think the first thing was called inside stuffs. Ew.
What?
The first item to order it said inside stuffs, like with an S on the end. And I was like, ugh. So it was the insides of something, I don't even know. There is just tongue, and there were fish eyes, there were red ants. They deep fry spiders and eat them. And I was like, oh my goodness. But luckily in Vietnam, they have a lot of French bread.
The French definitely left their mark over there. I'll tell you something really funny. Rita and I are always out there, as you know. We're foodies, and so we're always out there, checking out different restaurants and stuff. And there was this one. I'm not going to say what it was, but there's this barbecue place, and we would drive by it all the time. Blah 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 barbecue. And one day we were like, you know what? Let's just go check it out, right? So we walk into the restaurant, and they had all these glass cases. And Rita and I'm not making up a word of this, Laurie. Okay, so now I'll be
the judge of that.
I'm looking in these glass cases for familiar items, maybe brisket, or maybe ribs, maybe barbecued chicken. I'm looking for these familiar things, and I'm not seeing any of it. Now, it's all full. Big, 20-foot long, I'm not joking, glass cases, heated, with cooked stuff in it, right? And I'm looking, I'm like, well, okay, all right. I'm not feeling it, right? So we're walking, and then I take another look, and then I look a little bit closer, and then I looked above me, and I looked over to the left, and I went, holy crap, there's everything in here but what I am looking for, right? And I'm talking about crazy stuff. Now, I'm not going to name these specific things, but everything that you just named right there, I would eat. Not here. And it freaked us out. Now, so they come up, oh, so what, what can we get you? And I'm like, you know what? I'll be right back. Right? Rita and I go out, we get in the car, and we were horrified. I mean, I was traumatized. It was like the craziest movie that you could possibly see, but it was for real.
No, I know. And I was in Vientiane, Laos, and it was a long, hard trip to get there. Very, very difficult country to travel in. And we rent this little bungalow, and we go to this restaurant, and I'm looking at the menu, and I don't know, everything seemed a bit odd to me. We walked out, and we were cutting down the alley, and we were beside the back door of the kitchen, and they had this big sliding gray door open. So I went in, and they had these puppies in the cage.
No. Okay, stop.
No,
stop.
For real.
Okay. You're not going to take this into a zone I don't need to go into, are you?
No, I mean, I tried to free them. They called the police. We had to run down the alley and ditch them. And they had like the European siren in the distance. And we were just trying to free the puppies, but before doing that, this is kind of where I cued them in, I went back in and told them, I mean, listen, if you're going to serve dog and puppy on the menu like that, then you've got to have it in English too, and you have to make it really clear. Well, to them, it's no big deal, but that's when she knew. Then they saw me going into the back, and that's when the trouble started. But
man.
Yeah, well, even in the Buang village in Cambodia, everybody had around their little hut little piglets and puppies, and
I was talking about vegetables.
But this was food. Yeah,
I know.
I
don't want to hear that. That's crazy. And I realize, cultures are cultures and things, but it's just so funny. I can't wrap my head around that. I just can't.
We saw one dog in Phnom Penh, and I asked about that. Why are there no dogs? I haven't seen any dogs. And they had said that their governor or equivalent had made a proclamation that their neighbors, Cambodia, eat dog, and in order to clear the strays out of the streets from now on, people should eat dog meat. And several years later now, only the very wealthy have a pet dog. And like I said, I only saw one dog while I was in Phnom Penh, and they eat that. So I was all into eating. I drank a lot of coconut water, and I ate whatever vegetables that I could. I ate steamed rice. I like that. I didn't eat eggs either. I mean.
Yeah, I know. I can only imagine. If I was there, you're right. So what would you like? You know what? I'd like a Coke and some steamed rice, please.
I've had that. Well, but then you'll hit a 7-Eleven. And I walked into this 7-Eleven in Bangkok, and I've never seen anything like it. They have so much food that you can eat and all of these different noodles. And 7-Eleven is huge in Asia. They have places where you can sit down and eat and charge your cell phone. And I'm not talking hot dogs or in a Slurpee. They have absolutely everything that you can think of. It was just mind-blowing. You should check a couple of 7-Eleven videos in Asia. You just won't believe it.
What about, since we're talking about food, McDonald's, Pizza Hut, Kentucky Fried Chicken, Burger King, Taco Bell, anything like that?
McDonald's in Bangkok. But where I was really, off the beaten path, what I would look for would be Indian restaurants, because they're mostly vegetarian, and for some reason, Cambodia, I found the most amazing Indian restaurant. The food was, it was so good. And I cook Indian, and it was out of this world good. So we got pretty creative. Wayne, he'll eat anything. He didn't care. But
did you check out the McDonald's in Bangkok?
We did.
And
we went in there, and I do remember they had a couple of strange things on the menu, but and they didn't give us cream for the coffee. That was like an upcharge. I'm like, what? Yeah, you had to pay to get cream for your coffee. I thought that was a little bit weird. But Bangkok is kind of seedy. There's a lot of prostitution, and just getting into the McDonald's, there were young girls out there, and they're like, it was about 3:00 in the morning, and they're like, "You like sex in the morning? You like sex in the morning?" And yeah, so it was really difficult. I felt bad for them and tried to send them home to their mother, but that didn't work.
What does a Big Mac taste like in Bangkok?
I don't know, because I would never try that, not even here.
But you gotta. Okay, what about Wayne?
No, he didn't eat there. Oh, actually, he did. He did eat there. Yeah, I don't remember what. I think he had a breakfast thing.
I've been to as many American restaurants, fast food, as I can in different countries, and when you do that, it's not the same. It's just not. It's close, but I remember specifically, I went to a Kentucky Fried Chicken in Panama, the only one in the country, right? So I go at the time. I don't know what it's like now, and it wasn't even at the ballpark. It wasn't even close, and I was very disappointed because you look forward to it. You see it, and you're there. I ended up the entire time I was in Panama, I didn't do any fast food. It just wasn't available. I think there was a couple of McDonald's that I remember that were there. I don't remember going to them. But when I came back to the United States, first place, right? First place that I would go to when I landed was to go do fast food because I didn't have it the entire time I was there.
I wanted coffee. I wanted a Cafe Americano Breve, and I wanted it my way. But that's kind of what I missed. I have a little.
Man.
I needed a cappuccino, and I had them. I found some places, but yeah, it just wasn't there. The dairy products were different, but I'm adaptable. I made it work.
I didn't even think about that. No caffeine.
Yeah, that coffee part, that was difficult for me. Every hotel we stayed at, there would be a hot pot and a teapot in the room. But yeah, the coffee thing was really lacking. And when we did find it, it would be expensive compared to anything else. Like I remember at one of the islands, I think a cappuccino was $6. And I thought that was really funny because our cabana was like 11.
Right. Well,
so it just didn't make sense.
Well, at a certain point, a $6 cappuccino is a bargain. If you haven't had one for 3 weeks.
Of course I paid it.
Right. I could not imagine that. So you saw McDonald's, but no Starbucks in Thailand.
No, I think in probably Thailand, maybe one other country, I did see Kentucky Fried Chicken, but had no desire to go there. In the 9th grade and in the 10th grade, I worked at Kentucky Fried Chicken, and
okay,
I'm chickened out.
Okay, well, I'm hip to that, but the thought of going to another country and struggling because I've got to do coffee all day long. You know this.
Yeah,
and if I took coffee out of my diet for 24 hours, you would not want to be around me.
Well, I struggled with a few things. Wi-Fi connections sometimes were difficult. I did spend some time teaching math and English to girls. I would go back and definitely do that again. We have 2 trips coming up other than the China trip. We're going to India and wanting to go to the ashram in Trivandrum, which is in the south of India in the province of Kerala,
right,
where a UFO was discovered in the ashram. Section B of the UFO of the ashram had been closed off for about 100 years. They dug it open, and they say there's a UFO there. You say things like that. I want to go myself, all right? I want to go there, check it out, and see. And so India is there, but for lots of reasons, because I'd like to also compare the ancient Vedas to modern day ufology. I think there's a lot of clues there that can help us.
Can you take coffee with you? And you're going.
I travel with a cappuccino. When I was at Contact in the Desert the year before last, sorry I couldn't make it last year, and I sent them a very sorry letter. But I traveled with a cappuccino machine. I had it plugged in my room. I take my cappuccino machine wherever I go, so I totally get it.
Right. Oh, man. I just couldn't hang. I couldn't hang. Laurie, thank you so much. What have you got going on now? Are you speaking anywhere here in the United States? Oh, aren't you doing a new TV show too?
Yeah, we have a filming of a documentary coming up on the 4th of August. They're kind of looking at me in the work that I do as a researcher and a hypnotherapist. So they'll be filming a sky watch, and we'll set our intention and see if we can't have a UFO manifest. Then they'll be filming a regression session with an abductee, and have the most remarkable abductee, an older retired gentleman who kept very good records of his experiences. And so I'm excited to regress him for the show. We'll see where it goes. We're looking at another documentary as well, basically along the same lines. Apparently there's a lot of interest in this right now, and not just the phenomena, but ways to take the next step. And the regression aspect, I did find that in China they were very into the hypnosis part.
Yeah, fascinating. Well, I can't wait to get you back on the show. I don't know when I am going to see you again, but I will look forward to that, and we will break bread, you, Rita, Wayne, and I. And
Sounds good.
Until then, just be safe.
Thank you. You too, Jimmy.
Thank you, Laurie, and all the best. Great conversation tonight, and I went right through a commercial break, so I'm going to go back and pick that up so I can pay the bills. But I do want everybody to go and visit TrueYouHypnotherapy.com. The links are at JimmyChurchRadio.com. And if you are in Northern California, the Sacramento area, and you want to reach out to Laurie, it's very simple. TrueYouHypnotherapy.com. Fascinating conversation tonight. I got to get this commercial break in, and I'll be right back. Stay with me.
Vivica Fox here, and you are listening to my boy, Jimmy Church, on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Despite popular opinion, reading a book will not make you smarter.
But listening to Jimmy Church will.
Hurricanes, earthquakes, wildfires. This year we've experienced more than our fair share. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and last month I decided to make sure my family does not have to worry about food should we get caught in a real emergency situation. Introducing Numana, a healthy, storable product that tastes so good that you'll want to eat it every day instead of just during those times of duress. All Numana products have a 25-year shelf life, are MSG and GMO-free, no preservatives, and are made in America. With the Numana pack in your home, you'll be able to sleep at night knowing that you've protected your family. Not only have I tasted and tested, I own it. Now you can too. Just click on the Numana banner on JimmyChurchRadio.com and use the promo code Jimmy when you order. In addition to a discount, we'll send you an autographed Fade to Black t-shirt. Seriously, go Beckley Tappy. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Yes, River Moon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Just click on the banner at JimmyChurchRadio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Tappy.
Hey, can we talk about something serious for a minute? Your age. Getting old has its perks. But remember, being a few years younger, you know, your hair was thicker, you didn't have so many wrinkles, that extra weight wasn't haunting you, and you just felt better. Well, we can't turn back the clocks and go back 10 or 15 years, but you can start feeling and looking 10 or 15 years younger with Nature's Youth RSF. It's a doctor-formulated daily supplement that helps your body maintain its peak performance and fight the aging process. Imagine sleeping better, looking better, and feeling better. See how Nature's Youth RSF has helped thousands of people just like you at naturesyouth.com. naturesyouth.com. The holidays are coming. Imagine how it will feel when your family and friends are asking you what you did to look so good. Your secret will be Nature's Youth RSF. It's time to start looking better and feeling better. Learn more and order your Nature's Youth RSF at naturesyouth.com. That's naturesyouth.com.
Erica, Brittany, Gabby, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
It's not a lifestyle we chose. We were born this way. KGRARadio.com.
This is KJCR at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
All right, welcome back to Fade to Black. I want to thank Laurie McDonald coming in tonight. Great conversation. Always amazing when she's on the show. And before I get out of here tonight, I want to remind everybody to sign up for our Soul Tech gathering at A.C.H.E Ranch this August 9th through the 12th. Just go to soultechgathering.com. Now, we have and I'm going to let you know right now, we just have 20 tickets left. That's it. There are 20 weekend passes left, and you just go to soultechgathering.com. We are going to have James Gilliland there. We're going to have Jason Quitt speaking, Matthew Ryan, Michaela Sheldon, Teresa Yanaris, Holly Marie, Mary Gabrielle, John Lund, Dana Harvey, Billy Carson, Laura Cantu, and Christine Contini. We are going to be teaching all weekend. We've got lots of great music and entertainment planned. We've got the most amazing catering planned. We've got a party on Sunday night that we are going to do. We're going to be sky watching every single night. And there's everything else that comes with A.C.H.E Ranch. And I hope that when you go up there that you will get your keys and jewelry borrowed by the fairies, and you can go and experience all of this yourselves. It is just an absolutely magical place, and it's very simple. soultechgathering.com. And when I got the notice today that we only had 20 tickets left, it kind of caught me by surprise. I knew that we were very close to selling out, if not selling out, but that's it. That's it. Probably by tomorrow night, they're going to be gone. So don't waste any time. Today is the 17th, and it's just 3 weeks away. So there you go. I'm going to get out of here. I want to thank Laurie McDonald again for the amazing conversation tonight. This has been Fade to Black. I can't believe it. Episode 889. Oh, man, it is right here. Tomorrow night on Fade to Black. Are you ready? Justin Benson and Aaron Moorhead, directors and creators of the film The Endless, will be here with us tomorrow night. Fade to Black's executive producer is Rita Camarion. Show is produced by Hilton J. Palm, Renee Dennis, and Bob. Announcers are Steve Harder, Gene Vitoa, Mark D. Kovar. Webmaster is Drew the Geek. Music, Doug Aldrich. Intro, Spaceboy, spaceboymusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network, and syndication is KGRA, The Planet. This broadcast owned and copyrighted 2018 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. You can follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Until tomorrow night, the film Endless, right here I want everybody to be safe. Go Beckley Tappy.